Hi everybody, welcome and thank you for being here and thank you for sticking with me. I have some extremely loyal subscribers and believe me, I appreciate you so much. The channel is, however, still not growing. I've spoken to someone who runs a huge channel and who has been doing so since 2012 or 2014. I can't remember as I did not write it down, but I don't think it's important. And he has found proof, and that's the reason why I contacted him, because his channel, something's been going on there, and he also guessed that it was being shadow banned. And because he, after so many years, had a contact within the machinery of YouTube, they discovered the reason. It was because he had spoken about two countries who, until a few days ago, had been involved in a nasty war. The one country now also being accused of maybe, possibly, allegedly, conspiracy theory, kinda, sort of, could be involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Now, in my case, I have been given first by YouTube themselves some reasons like no memberships, no lives, blah, blah, blah. But now I learned through a number of parties, one in particular who ran an analysis on my statistics, that it is all bullshit. Some of the biggest channels do not do lives. Anyway, so according to his analysis of my statistics, it could possibly be because, or likely because, I also addressed certain political issues. I have a certain amount of negativity towards a certain world leader because of my citizenship, and then a list of other remarks included in the possible scenario analysis. Anyway, guys, it is quite a long list, so I am not going to bore you with it. I'm just grateful that someone did a proper, decent job and came up with some answers, because I've been trying all year to blow some life and steam into the channel, but it was not happening, and I was feeling more and more like a failure. And as the dollar is dropping against my currency and YouTube has changed their advertising allocation methods, it has become more and more difficult. I mean, I'm just being honest, I'm not asking for anything. But it has just become more and more difficult to maintain the channel at a certain level of posting. Because now, currently, I need to make time for a second income stream. And I also need to take care of my overall health, which had been suffering due to stress. Like, for example, I woke up night before last with a not so nice IBS or even Crohn's, but I think it's just IBS because I am feeling better today. But anyway, I woke up with an outbreak. Luckily, I still have all the medication except the cortisone in my cupboard, but I spend all of Saturday in bed or in the bathroom. I mean, what fun. Anyway, guys, I'm asking you again, and hopefully I won't need to do this again very soon because it must be boring for you. But I'm asking you nicely, please check periodically whether you are still subscribed, and get your friends and family to subscribe so you can discuss my videos, or you can even go bonkers and criticize me or criticize my videos. I really don't mind, because I want to be here, and I want to be here as much and as often as I can. But I need you to make it possible for me. And like I said, it need not cost you anything. All you need to do is subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and press that like button. And even if you drop me a little star or a thumbs up in the comment section, it all helps with the analytics. Anyway, in the analysis, they also found periodic technical issues, which I shall address from my side. And if there are more of you who would or could join my memberships, please do so. This week I dive deep into a very strange mystery, and I'm going to continue with it for a few weeks maybe, along with my usual 5 minutes of local finds and places. And of course, on my membership channel I run mostly photographs of local places of interest, but it's not all I'm talking about on my membership platform. So if you can please join us there. But, my dears, if you can't, please do not get upset, do not fret, please. I still love and appreciate you anyway. Okay, now let's get to today's video, and before I get to more serious stuff, let's check into Triple D, or then today, the Dickhead Delusional Duchess. Okay, did you guys see the article about Pierpaolo Piccoli and him talking, well, about himself and mentioning old Meghan Markle? He said, and I quote, "Meghan and I met some years ago and we've been texting ever since. She reached out and said she'd love to come to the show. There was no strategy or big orchestration. I didn't tell anyone she was coming because I wanted it to stay a surprise." So there you go. Meghan wasn't asked. She invited herself. So I can now finally go back to my original question. Who paid for the trip? Because it was clearly not Balenciaga or the designer. Okay, and then, as if last week's award wasn't enough, she had to drag some paparazzi along or tip them off that she was having lunch with Serena Williams at Soho House. Apparently she dragged old Harry along as well, but clearly the paparazzi had instructions to only photograph her, because I do not see one single picture of Harry or Serena. She also appeared on stage in a very wrinkled state at Spring Studios. Now, I'm asking you, she appeared in Paris, pale, with a very gaunt look, almost looking sick and frightfully thin. Then not even a week, she appears at this mental health festival about 10 to 20 kilograms heavier, fuller cheeks, and her hair about an inch further down her forehead. Well, on the occasion that she wore that black suit, it was back up there. Anyway. Now, if they did not both have that air of superiority and that condescending smile and attitude, I could easily have believed that it was a different woman here at this mental health festival and in Paris, honestly. Now, I was so totally convinced that there was animosity, anger, maybe even a tinge of hatred, mostly from Harry's side towards Meghan, when I watched them at the gala. But in the meantime, other footage has emerged. A clip of them, Harry and Meghan, chatting at their table before going on stage, And then Meghan posted a clip of them laughing and chatting before going on stage, but backstage. I just do not know what to believe anymore. Later, Meghan was again photographed by Splash News going into the Rosewood Carlisle Hotel alone. Not a single Harry in sight. Now, I don't know, did he go home or was he actually staying somewhere else and not with Meghan? Now, goodness, I have no idea what they are playing at. Absolutely none. Of course, there is the story that there is a plot to help them go back to England. And during the week, I'm going to do a very, very, very deep dive into Harry and Meghan and their shenanigans. My opinion is that they will want to get out of the United States. But I'm not going to go into it now, except to say that I think King Charles asked President Trump to give Harry a little room and time, and I think Trump agreed. Otherwise, it is my opinion that they would have been holed up somewhere away from the United States already. But that is content for the coming week. The video of William getting terribly emotional while talking to a woman who lost her baby and then her husband in a very short period of time got me very emotional too. I think William does not always show it, but I think the pressure he must have been under these past 2 years must have been almost unbearable. He lost his grandparents basically a year apart, and although extremely sad, I think the stress began when he officially took over the Duchy of Cornwall from his father. I have indeed records and testimony of how badly off Charles really left the Duchy of Cornwall. You will not see any of it in mainstream media, at least not until after King Charles's death. But William had to hear about it when he took over. Well, at least some of it. Homelessness increased tremendously under Charles's last, let's say, 10 years as the Duke of Cornwall. Unemployment rose to record highs in Cornwall. Seaside towns became dilapidated and hovels of crime and drug abuse. And may I just say that some of these seaside towns in Cornwall are the prettiest, most quaint you can ever dream of. Honestly, I travelled a bit of the seaside once in autumn and once in winter, and I do not have the words to describe it. Some of these places are like something out of a fairy tale or a picture book. Anyway, the list of issues in and around properties and land owned by the Duchy of Cornwall is likely as long as my arm. One day, when it all comes out, you will indeed be shocked, I'm telling you. There were, among other things, council houses where the roofs or ceilings are literally caving in because of roof leaks. When William saw this for the first time, he was very, very angry because there was proof that the people had reported it to the local councils, and the local councils asked the Duchy for help as it wasn't in their budgets, and nothing happened. I was told that William threw a fit in public in the actual street. So yes, I'm not going to go into too much detail, only a little of what was already in the media. But believe me, William's tears during the talk with Rian Mannings were not the first ones these past 3 years. And while struggling to catch up on his new and extended duties, the news came that both Charles and Catherine had cancer. It is common that while we are in crisis, the adrenaline is pumping and you do what you have to do without noticing that you are tired or even close to burnout. But once these things get slightly better and you start to relax, that is when the cracks start to show and emotions sometimes bubble to the surface. And I think, other than Mrs. Manning's story being terribly, terribly sad, that is what is happening to William. I heard people say, and I think I reported on it as well, that William is more difficult than usual at work as well. Well, and I think that is exactly why. William may have way more money than you and I, but his duties, responsibilities, and all the drama he's had to deal with for the past 3 years, and particularly the last two, is likely also more than we have to deal with. Okay, and then lastly, I spoke of Charles's condition, I think in my last video, and I even asked you what you thought and what he looked like to you when he appeared alongside William. Most of you actually said he looked frail and ill, and to be truthful, I agree. But I also noticed what looked to me as a little bit of confusion. I think Charles is likely now also receiving medication for anxiety or depression and very likely pain. So together, those three things will hamper with your cognitive responses and will likely also make you a little bit drowsy. Now, I don't know whether you saw it, but Charles met with his former aide, Michael Fawcett, recently at Windsor Castle. Now, you see, that is when I get very angry with Buckingham Palace. According to Buckingham Palace's media centre, Michael Fawcett was snuck into Windsor Castle for a farewell audience, which is, according to Buckingham Palace, a traditional meeting for departing senior staff. Bullshit. After 4 years? Really? Does Buckingham Palace's media centre and or Torben Andre really think that we are not only stupid but utter morons, or that we are so in awe of them that we just willy-nilly believe what they say? Well, I don't believe that shite. Maybe it was a farewell audience, but nothing to do with Michael's job or ex-job. We all know Charles was incredibly close to Michael Fawcett. And why would Charles have Fawcett whisked in and whisked out of the castle in a military-style operation if it was merely a business and or traditional audience? I do not believe it. Charles has often said that if there's one person he could not do without, it would be Michael Fawcett. An insider also told one of the newspapers that Charles has never stopped feeling the loss of Michael, who, according to Charles, was forced to resign. Okay, now, we all know Michael fell on his sword for Charles. So I don't know, maybe Charles left something for Michael in his will, or maybe he wants Michael to come take care of him in his last days, weeks or months, just like the Queen chose Angela Kelly along with Princess Anne to assist her during her final days. She also chose tall Paul Wybrew, her personal footman, and Sir Edward Young, her private secretary, to take care of her and her business during her last days. All other staff were kept at a distance, not only for the Queen's peace and comfort, but also to prevent gossip and leaks. I'm going to take a guess that Charles will indeed do the same, and I will not be surprised if he chooses Michael to eventually be his Angela Kelly. And you know what? So be it. If he is happy and Michael's presence comforts him, then let them be. The media has far too much say about what happens in the royals' private lives. I think for once they should be quiet. Okay, guys, I have a lot of work to do for you this coming week, a heck of a lot. So hang on to your hats. It is going to get interesting. So until we meet on the next one, please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.